fault.
Test, test. How about that? Okay. Now that we got that fixed, just kind of comes out of nowhere, doesn't it? We've got all that fixed as we're back rolling again. Again, 29 as we're waking up. I talked for no reason there for a few minutes, didn't I? Sorry about that. As we get it going, we got all that cleared up. We'll be right back in a moment as we'll get this day started. As in cold weather approaching 29 this morning as you're waking up, headed for a high of 61. Mouth was moving, nothing was happening over there, Odie.
Like an old Chinese movie.
Yeah, I didn't look at my meters. We'll be right back. Let me see here. Test. Let's see. All right, we have sound. I want to make sure that is the right one. We're going to stay with that. It is working. We'll figure the rest out from there. We'll be right back. Let's go to Collinsville now.
One of my favorite sayings that I have used recently is, wrong assumptions lead to wrong conclusions. My dear wife has heard me say that so many times that she probably cringes when I say it. But the saying applies to so many areas of our lives. We need to be careful about what we assume because those assumptions can lead us to make conclusions that have severe consequences. And we can miss out on many of the blessings of God. This saying applies when some people think about those who walk in fear of the Lord. They assume that since someone fears the Lord, they must live every day trembling and wondering if God is going to eliminate them for something bad that they have done. That is absolutely wrong. It's a wrong conclusion. Proverbs 28:14 says, "Blessed is the man who always fears the Lord, but he who hardens his heart falls into trouble." That word blessed can also be translated happy. A person who has a healthy fear or reverence for the Lord will be blessed or be happy. But that person who hardens his heart towards the Lord, living as though there is no God or that he is not concerned with anything that we do, will find trouble through the judgment of God and through the consequences of their sin. We should live each day acknowledging God for who He is and knowing that God has the ability and the desire to bless those who walk in fear of Him. If we say we fear the Lord and live life always looking over our shoulder, we've come to the wrong conclusion about fearing God. Please don't harden your heart to the Lord. Listen, learn to fear Him and know Him for who He is. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. Now that we've got sound and all can understand each other. 29 this morning as we wait for a high of 61. We'll talk about snow coming up. What are the chances? What are the odds? All that's right around the corner as we get ready for next week. Now, the forecast has already changed from last night into this morning, so just be aware that changes will happen with all of this in between now and when it actually arrives. It'll be more, it'll be less, and it's going to go back and forth several times. But we are expecting some form of accumulation as we get ready for this. Talk more about it coming up in just a moment. As we go to headline shaping America today, Jason Aldean throws his name into the hat. He also will be showing up Monday for singing abilities for the inauguration as Trump goes to it. And this will include Kid Rock, Carrie Underwood now included in the country singers that will be a part of the celebration there. Stacey Abrams, do y'all remember that name? Georgia, Atlanta. She ran for governor, if I'm not mistaken, of that. They're being hit or slapped with, maybe that's the word with it, campaign finance violations. Rump row. Things happen. We'll see what becomes of that. What else is happening today? We do know that there are so many folks in California that are without a home, and our heart breaks for them. Let's not forget also, because this still goes on, I see this every day, I feel for these folks. North Carolina, they've extended the stay in some of these hotels that people that didn't have a home until January the 25th. And as that word came about, there was already people being evacuated from hotels saying that there was no money left for for them to stay. Now, not all are thrown out, but a few had already been evicted before the word got out that they would be able to stay through the 25th, another week or so. Can you imagine? And I hope you never have to, any of us, being without your home. And I do know that there are some. Fire has broken out in our communities and people have lost everything. There's this vast variety, everybody in your neighborhood standing around without nothing. It's awful. And that's where, as Americans, we step up, we roll up our sleeves, and we help our neighbors. And I do hope that's going to happen in both states. Seems to be a little lacking there on the aid there for North Carolina. Hopefully the cavalry's coming and all that's going to change, that we get some folks some help that need it, that are in the cold. I can almost hear Odie weeping in the corner as I get ready to tell this next story, as we find out that California claims fires have claimed millions and millions of dollars worth of artwork by one of the most incredible painters I guess there ever was.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden. The storage facility that housed all of these infamous, I've seen pictures of them, and I didn't think it was actual art, but a guy that valued it at millions had loaned money to him on it for his legal fees, said all those were worth millions. Okay. I've talked about what I consider art and what I consider nothing.
If you draw something, I'll evaluate it.
Art, and seriously, the trash can paintings is not art, or paint thrown up against a wall and you put a handprint in it. That's something, but it's not art. It's, bless it. But whatever it is that was in those storage things are gone now, that Hunter painted, while he might have been under the influence. Just maybe. We don't know that. Germany has voted, as they all got together, they sat around in a circle and said, well, we need to do something about this. We do feel that there are drones flying around our bases. They have been given the go-ahead, should any drone fly near their base, that they will take it out. We'll see what becomes of this one also there. We got somebody that is, well, losing their job. Well, we'll get to that in a second. This is the other one. Do y'all remember that infamous computer that a little guy in a computer shop made a phone call and said, hey, I've got this computer, and I think it has some national intelligence on it that y'all would be interested in? Well, he ended up losing his business. He was picked on, put out of business, cost him his livelihood. There were some 51 senators and intelligence workers, not necessarily senators, but intelligence with CIA and different agencies and all of these people in Washington that signed and said, this is all malarkey, that this computer has nothing on it. Guess who's scared today? It would be 51 of those that are terrified for their jobs of what's coming, because we have proof that every bit of it was truth. There's going to be consequences, and Mike Waltz teases this as he gets ready to take the helm. Incoming National Security Advisor is who he is. And he hadn't said he's going to do anything to them, but it has raised a concern. And it should be. It was false. Either A, they knew they were lying, or B, they didn't look into anything and just agreed with what somebody else told them. We do not need people like that running our country in any shape, form, or way. They don't need to be over any agency. Wonder what will happen. We'll wait and see there. The company, do y'all remember the CEO worker that was killed on the street? Horrible, anywhere. I don't care how you slice that. Information now coming out that the company that he worked for, again, allegedly was charging more than 1,000 times of what a drug was worth. They have pocketed, what was that figure? $73 billion in overcharges. Now, that's not right. Now, again, all alleged, but what's that old saying? If you throw a biscuit against the wall, it sticks. It's something like that. Something sticking. We'll wait and see what becomes of this.
If it quacks.
You know, I've had people argue with me over this before. Cancer, one of the most worst things in the world that can happen to human beings. It's awful. Do drug companies really want a cure? I don't believe they do. They make so much off of these cures that are out there. Again, I am no scientist. I am no doctor. I have no proof to back all that up. That's just from the outside looking in. We do need a cure. And boy, I sure hope one day we get it. There's a lot of people that don't want that. And I think you know that as well as I do deep down. Pete, has anybody watched any of this as he is, Pete, how do you say his name? Hedgepeth?
Yeah.
As he is getting ready to be going through his Senate, where they come up and talk to him. Pocahontas, let's remember her. You know, and let's just, I think this is well worth playing. I'm going to go to, this is part of X, where this is posted. I want you to look at this, where she asked him a question and he answers it. I think this really sums it up. If you're a senator, you need to know what you're doing here. And here this is. Let's just play this.
You're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
One for Pete. That actually happened, and the I'll think of her name in a minute. The blonde-headed girl, boy, she's been taking some whoopings up in there, and she's been giving it back. I'll think of her name in a second. I got her name written down. I'm trying to learn all these new people's names that are up for appointments. Netanyahu. I'm going to hush while I'm ahead. Prime Minister of Israel says, y'all hang on just a second. Everything is not as good as it looks. He's not ready to sign. Are we all? Because it was very back and forth yesterday. I put out a report from the AP that a deal had been done, and then it came back and said it had not been done. And as of this morning, they're saying Netanyahu is not ready to sign just yet. He's not saying it won't happen, but he's saying some things need to be worked out, that they're trying to break a few things that are in that. Then that next question is, who secured this deal? Was it Biden or was it Trump, or did they both collaborate and equal about the same? If you look at this, the first phone call that was made was to Trump. Take that for what it's worth. It's not leaning either way. That's just the facts of what happened. Drugs. It's monitored by the Food and Drug Administration of the United States, and you can't sell anything to the public unless it's approved. We have a fitness guru that said he could fight man boobs. You know, he might be spending some time in jail. He's got some runt rows in his world there. The lady, y'all remember this, where they tried to steal Graceland? Oh, she's got her day in court, and it's not looking good for her. It's set for April, where they were trying to take Graceland away from the family of Elvis Presley's family. That's coming. Bondi, Bondi, that's the lady's name. Awesome. That girl is tough, y'all. What'd she tell him yesterday? The little guy that was running with Kamala, I'm not here to do your homework. Where he kept trying to ask her a question, I'm not here to do your homework. Wow. We do need people that stand their ground. All of us have been wrong on something that we've stood our ground on. And if you're wrong, you say you're wrong later. We've got world leaders and people that are in power that never do that. Study. Know what you're doing before that. Arnold says Israel says it was Trump, and that's what I mean by that first phone call. Did anybody? I could only take about 2 to 3 minutes of the speech last night. When I tuned in I was sitting here in my office and I turned it on. And it was more of the same of jumping on Trump, and should have been a farewell speech, and I just turned it off. I went on about my business. The U.S. recovers about $31 million of your money that was sent out to dead folks. Social Security payments, they have gotten back $31 million. And the big scheme of thing, that bought, half of a military plane that we sent to Ukraine?
Yeah.
Maybe the tail fin is what that recovered. Oh, and maybe, how many millions did we give away to schools for debt forgiveness? We got to start somewhere. I'm not knocking him, but we do need to get that money back, and it needs to be every department do that. or we're not going to make it. Seriously, there's only so much month at the end of the money. Now, this is just horrific. How can anybody do it? 83 years old, you think about that. You go to get your milk and eggs down at your local store, and you've got an extra $3, and you buy a lottery ticket. I don't know the exact number, but let's say you won $400. It's $400 you didn't have toward your budget. You're walking home, you got it in your purse, and you're attacked. They watched her win it and attacked her. This would happen in Florida. Store parking lot. There's places for people like that. That's just my thought. Whoa, who's lining up? Let me see some hands there. What will Kamala do next? There's a rumor that she could run for governor of California. That would be two people that I wouldn't know who to vote for and use from her. But there's also signs of a book. Would you buy a book from her, a new book deal? I don't know what it would be called.
I'm a lot.
Before I say this, I don't want anybody to take offense to this. This is just laying down as an American. I think this way. New York is coming up with a new holiday. When you come to America, you adjust to our standards, what America is. There's nothing wrong with keeping your culture of where you come from. Not at all. I encourage that. But as far as on a national level, as we look at this in states and things, I think we need to keep it all American. They're having a new celebration, the Lunar New Year. They're going to be getting out of school and making it a holiday in New York. Again, I have nothing wrong with you celebrating, but this is America, and that is, we have a lot of that goes on. We are changing in a direction of forgetting that. It also goes to language. English is the language of the United States. So many people fail to realize that. There was a situation, I forget what state it was, where I read where police responded. We have 2 officers that are in deep trouble now. They didn't understand the guy. He couldn't speak any English, and he was pointing and had a knife in his hand. They thought he was coming at them. Y'all know what happened. And now they're in trouble over doing that. Didn't understand him, and he was shaking it. I see their point. But it is, or it used to be, isn't English still I get really confused as to what is and what isn't anymore. Used to, I had no doubt. But that is one of those things to where to become an American citizen, you needed to speak the language. There's nothing wrong with keeping cultures, and I want everybody to understand that. But you should be able to understand what the police and read signs in the U.S. of what they say, or it could lead to more bad things like that. That's just a few thoughts there as we begin this day. We've got a lot to talk about as we get into what's going on locally. All that's next. We're going to talk weather next here at the Scotty Ray Report. And we got sound now. We'll be right back.
We welcome you to a new vehicle buying experience here at Doc's Toyota. Buying a new vehicle doesn't have to be stressful, but don't just take our word for it.
This was the best experience I've ever had buying a vehicle.
Doc's employees are top-notch.
I drove 2 hours, not once, but twice, to purchase 2 vehicles with a 5-month time frame.
Doc's delivers competitive pricing, a comprehensive selection, and flexible financing options, helping you get on the road from Carthage, Meridian, and beyond. There's a reason why there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
As the seasons change, so do your clothes, and Garrett Sport exactly what you need. Haybo shirts, long and short sleeve, also Hulk shirts, and America's favorite brand, Carhartt. Whether you need work pants or slacks for church, and nothing lasts like a pair of Carhartt overalls. Maybe it's a set of boots that you need to keep you dry in those wet conditions. And as hunting season rolls in, they have all the camouflage you need and toboggans to boot. Garrett Sports Center, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Welcome back. Let's get into that forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Record highs, record lows. It was 1943. We set a record high of 79 on this date. We're way away from that today. Right now at 29. 1972, closer to it. 14 was the record low, and 72. As we look at today's high, 60 to 61 is what we'll see in Meridian as we go northward. Maybe 59 there in Philadelphia and up to Columbus and down the river, about the same. Brookhaven stays a little warmer there in Hattiesburg. As we go east, not any different in between Mississippi, Alabama today. 60s, 59s. Here's what is we're watching very carefully. Y'all look at this as we glance across this map. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Snow, the chance of it pretty high. We're in a level 2 here in the Meridian area. We could see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches here. Now again, this forecast is going to change back and forth, back and forth. This is a line from Macon, Mississippi, due south that could get 1 inch, moves west through Noxapater over to Yazoo and on into Louisiana. Now, that's not saying that if you live in near Lake Teocata in Winston County, you're not going to get some. I'm not saying that. That's the line at this point to where it's a level 2. So we're going to watch this. It could be snow, sleet, freezing, rain. It's a lot to be determined in between now and Tuesday when we think this will happen. Things could happen Monday night. They're leaning toward Tuesday. And again, it's changed since the last time we talked about this. Right now, let me see what I'm looking at. We're looking at Tuesday night being our biggest there. We could get 1 to 3 inches during the day, another additional ½ inch, 1 inch at night on Tuesday. And now we're looking at maybe Thursday getting some slush. It was Friday yesterday afternoon. Now they've backed it up. And again, this is all going to change again. Nothing is written in stone just yet. But we do know that something is coming. Be prepared, wood, heat, everything. Be prepared for this. If you haven't gotten gas in your vehicles, maybe it's an old truck that you use to get around that's a 4-wheel drive, go ahead now, fill it up, park it over there. It'll be okay. Be prepared now. Don't wait for power to go out because this is most likely going to happen. Whenever there's snow, ice, limbs, breaks, things come down. We want you to be prepared and fully aware of what is coming. That is most likely. And we're going to talk more about this at 7 o'clock right around the corner as we'll break this down. As we look at our 7-day outlook, let's look at this of the temperatures of what we're expecting. I just can't get it to work right. Here we are. Here's our 7-day outlook. 60 to 61 today, 62 tomorrow. Now, notice the changes coming. Saturday, still 67. By Sunday, a high of 40. You better bundle up before you head over to the Baptist church because it's going to be nippy. As we get into that night, 19 degrees. By Monday, a high of only 33, and we will not get above freezing on Tuesday, a high of 31. You mix snow in with that, we got road issues, don't we? A low that night of 31, only climbing to 35 the next day. So it could still be road problems. As we look at Thursday, now this is where things start to come out of it. A high of 48, we will get some sludgy stuff, most likely sometime during that day. But it's only down to freezing that night. It will melt and go away the following day by 50. So next week is determined. These temperatures will change back and forth. But definitely something is coming in between Monday and Wednesday, and we may see some flurries and stuff later on in the week. Tuesday at this point is our big concern. We'll watch it. Be prepared for this as it makes its way near us. Let's take a quick look at fishing today from our friends over at J&J. Perfect time to fish this afternoon is 2:30. This is going to be during that 60-degree weather. Wind's going to only be 5 to 10, not bad at all, and that's in the morning. So we've got that sunsets at 5:13. We're moments away from sunrise. As we look at the hunting calendar, what's best for today? Major time today at 1:30 to 3:30. A minor time this morning beginning at 8:30 again. That sunset will happen around 5:13. So you ought to be able to sit there at about 5:36, 5:40, pushing it. Good luck to everybody hunting. We're going to be back. We're fixing to fire off our coffee pot. We'll be back to talk more about snow and things that are happening. We're going to take a quick break, update all of the headlines there so we'll know what we're talking about. Join us. Click that button. We'll be back in about 2 minutes to start this. I guess we could leave it live since I'll break it apart, have two different. We'll be right back with this.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.